Hi, it's Steve Hopkins, your head coach, and sitting here with you, having a cup of coffee, getting ready to share some thoughts about resilience. Now, do you think a cup of coffee has anything to do with resilience? Or maybe do you think about resilience more of like grinding through a tough workout, getting to the finish line and just being able to exhaust yourself in a planned workout? There's lots of different things we could think about, and some things make sense and others might not intuitively have a connection to resilience. So, in our time together here, I thought I'd just share some thoughts about resilience and maybe even dive into the relevance of resilience as it pertains to business. Like, where does it come in? And maybe uncover some things you hadn't thought of before. Talk a little bit about some behaviors that reflect great resilience and not so great resilience. And finish up with one or two things that you could put into motion to grow this muscle after we decide it's important. Okay. So stick with me right along here and we'll get through this in a few short minutes. But what we're talking about with resilience are these concepts of kind of misfortune, right? Adversity, challenges, difficulty, stress, right? These are part of our world as we know, but resilience is the experience of getting through that, right? Overcoming that, enduring, withstanding, and even recovering from those things, right? So we're not talking about the easy part of life. We're not talking about the planned execution of success and the pleasant things that life brings us. We're talking about the tough stuff, the challenges, the unexpected, the hurdles, the misfortunes. And resilience is about how and if we get through those things, right? That makes sense using some of that vernacular. So this becomes important in business because one, the truth is we are going to have some challenges, right? As I tell people all the time, sometimes we get caught in the battle of I want to work so hard to avoid and eliminate all challenges. And clearly, if we can eliminate some challenges, fair enough. But I think it's more worthy to be prepared for challenges and get good at using resilience to get through challenges. Because I believe as soon as we knock down challenge A, we're going to be faced with challenge B, right? And we've all experienced that. So, what are some business impact? Well, being resilient helps you decrease all the negative stuff that makes it tougher to go through challenges. Depression, negativity, all the way to different ways we could describe mental health, for instance, in a challenging way, or a barrier, you know, um, mental health in a sense that doesn't serve us in a positive way, but it actually drags us down, right? Real issues in today. So, on the flip side, resilience offers us the opportunity to be stronger, right? Going back to the dumbbell, we work out to get through 10 reps, and then the next week we can get through 20 reps, or we can increase the weight because of our resilience of getting through the last thing, right? And so we're stronger, we're healthier. Um, Resilience helps us be more resistant to the negative implications of challenges, right? Things that used to or could have knocked us down before, now we get through because of the work in building up resilience, right? Um, and so, in that physical realm, in that psychological and emotional realm, we're talking about adding energy. We're talking about adding health. We're talking about being able to produce action instead of only contemplation. We're talking about rising up hope instead of depression, right? So that's one aspect of it. The other thing is resilience allows us to learn from our experiences, right? So great leaders use their past to improve their future, learning from experiences, good experiences and challenging ones, expected problems and unanticipated problems. Learn from experience. Resilience offers you that opportunity, which is really valuable. And because of that, then we can put that into motion in the future. Right? Learning from past experiences, being healthy and strong and have energy and problem solving and leaning forward allows us to be more equipped to achieve long-term goals. Okay? So all these things sound awesome. Resilience is an awesome ingredient for that. Okay? So what we want to get involved in then is thinking, how can I see some things that would give me a clue that I have an opportunity here? And if I have an opportunity here, what do my endpoints, what do my goals look like as far as behaviors I could practice, behaviors that would be exhibited when I've improved in this area? So let's just go through a list. Opportunities, people, yourself, myself, with opportunities to improve in resilience would look like this. We become resistance of change, right? You ever had that problem? It's like, oh, I'm kind of bucking what's coming next and feeling that. I see this all the time. I've experienced this myself, feeling entitled when we don't get our way, right? You get in a discussion about what we're going to do next, and our way is not chosen. And so I feel like I'm entitled. It should be my way, right? And so we have a hard time adapting and changing to somebody else's way. We feel like we have that right. Here's another one I've experienced a lot in some of my early leadership and management. Failure, I was contextualizing failure into my own self-worth, right? So when we fail, I'm less of a person. When we don't have great resilience, this is something that can impact us a bit. Here's a few others real quick. Instead of asking for help, we like to fly solo, right? And we don't see opportunities to have other people contribute. Passive instead of reactive, unable to visualize the future. These things, if any of those jump out at you as things that you feel now, have felt in the past, the context of low resilience in your life, then just take note of that. I'm just like, wow, that's one of the areas I have trouble with when it comes to resilience. Awesome. That's really great self-reflection. And sometimes we can even see that in our team. And so we can pick one of those and say, my team needs help in this area. What would I like it to look like going forward? What are indications that we're starting to get this? Well, let me list off a few of those things for you. In working in teams, we have this capacity to accept other people's mistakes. All right, we have a little bit of grace when other people make mistakes. Rely on the support of other people. We're okay with that, having others help us accomplish the goal. This is a great one that we don't think of often, but we have a capacity to use humor to help out the situation a little bit. You ever feel like my humor dissolves when I'm low in resilience? It's nowhere to be found. I'm just tapped out, right? But humor is this wonderful thing to just let it be, and it's okay, and we got this, and we can move forward, right? Look, the ability to look at failure is only temporary. It's a great quality, showing that a higher level of resilience. Learning from mistakes, tolerating uncertainty. These are things that really reflect today's day and time, right? The energy and the capacity to act as opposed to wait, right? Being fearful and wait, and instead, high resilience allows us to act and confidence, and we have the ability to forgive more quickly, right? We understand the value of forgiving. So I'm using coffee as my analogy of health and peacefulness and calmness, even in the moment when nothing's really changed as far as the problems I have to tackle today. Those are all still there; they're ahead of me. But somehow, instead of being frantic and being negative and thinking about some of those things, I can sip on a cup of coffee here. So anyway, that may ring true to you, or that may be silly, but either way. So I'm going to shift here to close out and just talk about a few ways that we could flex the muscle. Again, I brought the dumbbell with me to kind of use that analogy. Flex the muscle of resilience. Resilience is something we can build and grow and develop. We've already proven the value of this. We've talked about the value as personal and business implications and showed some good destinations of exhibiting high level resilience. So let me give you a few, and you pick one or two of these that you think you can put into motion here in the next month. All right. And we'll come up with ways to check in and see how that's going. The first one is a thought one, a journal activity. Okay. And the journal activity is for you to recall a past situation where you could use the labels that you remember being courageous and you overcame an obstacle, right? Something with that kind of phraseology, all right? You're courageous and you overcame an obstacle. And if you can journal about that, just recall what it was. Put some notes in there. All right. Oh, this was the occasion. I did this. I did that, and I overcame, overcame the challenge. And then spend some time, close your eyes, and what I like to call is mentally rehearsing it. Right? Go back in that time and walk through the play, and turn that event into a play and walk through that and rehearse it. Right? Rehearse it. It will bring back memory of a time when you've been resilient to remind yourself that you have been resilient. Right? It kind of draws out that exercise from our past and says, oh, yeah, that's what that looked like then. That was a good example. I've done it. I can do it again. All right. It's just a really great journal and mental activity that will help reacquaint yourself and remind yourself and put into motion the DNA of resilience again. All right. So here's an action one, helping somebody else overcome a challenge. And we all do this all the time, but we might not be thinking about it in a self-serving way, right? We're being a servant to the other person. I'm going to support them. I'm going to come up with ideas. I'm going to encourage them. All the things that we do to help somebody else overcome, all right? That experience, we can have the possibility to grow ourselves if we're reflective and say, that's how that works. Ooh, that's what resilience looks like. I can probably self-action that and do those same things for myself or enlist other people now for me. Remember, one of the qualities was it's okay to rely on the support of other people because they can participate in fueling resilience. Okay? And so when we do it, we're playing the other role, but we can be reflective and say, that's what that looks like. I'm going to use that rep to remind myself what it looks like and maybe enlist the others or self-action the encouragement, self-action the positive thinking, self-action action over thinking. Sometimes when you're encouraging somebody else, we're kind of nudging them into motion sometimes, right? And so, hey, we got to stop thinking, let's do something. What can I help you do next? So that we're in motion and in action, all right? So helping another person overcome, again, jot that down, journal about it. When have you done that this week? Reacquaint yourself with that experience. Try to do that again next week. Try to create an experience where you're helping another person overcome a challenge. It's a great growth, resilience opportunity. And then gratitude. There's a great book I want to share with you. This is one of the easiest little thin books I can think about of resilience. It's called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. You can take a screenshot of this book. And it's super easy to read. It's just got these little chapters here, and we'll just wrap up here in the next minute. But it's a book that claims to have the secret of life, right? And how to make it through life. And one of the themes in that book is this ability to love ourselves. Like on the darkest days, when we're most challenged, we're alone. And are we going to be a positive person to be alone with, or are we going to be a negative person to be alone with? Are we going to be alone and draw us down, or are we going to be alone and have the capacity to draw us up? All right. Loving yourself is one of those ways. And I like to flip it and just use the word gratitude in a way that kind of links to some other things. But spending some time in the next couple weeks with your form of gratitude journal, right? Whatever that could be, and have it be something where you just action, reminding yourself each day of 3 things that you're thankful for. It can be a person, could be a thing, could be an event, could be a gift, It could be nature, it could be whatever, right? But you have to verbalize it. I would encourage you to write it down and then verbalize what you wrote down. Speak the words, right? And all that does is remind us good days, bad days, successes and celebrations, failures and new problems. We still have the ability to do this thing repetitively, connect with something that we're thankful for, right? It gives us fuel and it learns and teaches us. It teaches us that we have the capacity to add fuel no matter what the situation is, right? So it's a great psychological exercise to say, I'm not going to be dependent on good moments to feel strong and healthy. I can do it at any time. Because gratitude, the capacity to love ourselves even in the darkest of days, is an action step, right? To do what we were talking about. Remember, we're talking about withstanding, enduring, overcoming, recovering. When? In difficult times, in challenging times, misfortune, adversity. That's when resilience is exhibited, right? Good luck with that. If you have questions, get back with me, chat about it, come up with some new ideas. Happy to help you. Look forward to seeing you on the other side of the river.